Hi Pisces, and welcome to your horoscope for May 2025. Thanks for joining me. It's a pleasure to be with you today. My horoscopes are based on the UK time zone, so please bear that in mind. And please watch them in this order: for your rising sign first, then for your sun sign, and finally for your moon sign. So in my case, rising sign is Taurus, then I would watch Virgo, that's my sun sign, and finally I would watch Capricorn, that's my moon sign. So I'm going to break May down into 4 weeks. I'm going to pay particular attention to what the moon is doing, how it moves through your chart, which areas of your life it supports you in, and when. So starting with week 1, Thursday the 1st to Sunday the 4th of May. So it's not really a week, it's 4 days. On the 1st of May, we have the moon in Gemini, and that's in your 4th house of your roots, your family, and what makes you feel like you belong. So that's next to Jupiter, the lucky planet. So that's an amazing day for you when it comes to family relationships and just having an overall sense of well-being. And my life is exactly the way it should be. And I'm content and I'm happy with where I'm at. On the 1st of May, we have a Celtic festival called Beltane, and it means that we're halfway from the spring equinox to the summer solstice. I'm a Western astrologer, so my horoscopes are based on the seasons and it's based on the Northern Hemisphere. So it doesn't matter whether you're watching this in the Southern Hemisphere or the Northern Hemisphere, the energy is the same. But the Beltane festival, it reminded me of something, and I have no Farsi, so please excuse my pronunciation, but it's Chahashanbe Suri, and it's a fire festival that happened on the 18th of March this year, and it happens the day before Nowruz, which is the Persian New Year. And it's this amazing festival where fire jumpers, people have to jump over a fire. So whether it's a big fire or a small fire, what they need to do is they need to find courage and bravery and confidence within themselves that they can jump over this fire. And symbolically, it is so powerful because it means that you're jumping into the new year voluntarily. You're jumping full on. You're acting as if you don't know what's coming, but you're embracing it. You're jumping into this new year with everything you've got. And the dual purpose of it is that you're jumping over a fire, which means that you're cleansing away any negativity from the past, anything that may still be rumbling around on a subconscious level. And I just find that so inspiring. And I think Beltane is very similar to that in the sense that I want us to treat May like it's the first month of a whole new year. We've got the sun in Taurus for the first 20 days of the month, and Taurus is a fixed earth sign that encourages us to build and to take practical action and to make things happen. What's also amazing about this month is that we have all the personal planets: Mercury, the communication planet, Venus, the planet of love and beauty and creativity, and Mars, the planet of ambition and drive. They're all direct, and they're all direct all month. So as far as our lives are concerned, it's all systems go. Expect zero issues with communication and transportation. It's time to start the new relationship, romantic, business relationship, to start the new company. And it's also time to be ambitious and to go after what it is you want. On the 2nd and 3rd of May, we have the moon going into Cancer, and that goes into your 5th house of what you love to do and who you love. And these 2 days are going to be great for you as far as your relationships are concerned, your most intimate relationships. But Hades is the thing that we don't want to look at. So if you notice anything that comes up, as in, this is my job, this is the job that I've had for ages, but suddenly there's a shadow that comes over that, and it's like, oh, but there are certain things I don't like. Or when it comes to the relationship that you've been in and that you've been so happy in, it may be that suddenly there's a shadow there, and it's like, is this the right relationship for me? So the 2nd and 3rd are days where you can question whether the relationships, the connections you have in your life are still appropriate, whether you're still happy with those, whether you're giving and receiving in a way that makes sense to you, or whether there need to be changes that need to be made. It could be minor tweaks or massive changes. It depends on how you feel when you examine and think about those things. Then on the 4th of May, we have the moon going into Leo, and it joins Mars, which is ambition and drive. That's in Leo in your 6th house. And your transiting ascendant, which is your transiting rising sign. That's at 22 degrees in Leo in your 6th house. So the 4th of May is going to be fabulous for you to get things done in work, particularly anything that requires leadership, that requires you to be in the spotlight, anything that you want to launch either as a company or as a team. It's a good day to give that new project a birthday. It's time to build this new marketing campaign, or it's time to create the whole new company, or it's time to present to the publishers in order to get the manuscript accepted and then published. So the 4th is very important. If there's anything that you want to acquire or create that needs you to show up in a positive way, that other people are going to respond to in a positive way. You'll be at the peak of your powers, you'll put your best foot forward. So make sure that if you can schedule in things like this, that you do it for the 4th. You're really going to come across very, very well. So in the first 4 days of this month, the moon starts in your 4th house in Gemini, and it ends up in your 6th house in Leo. And that's your second quadrant. That's houses 4, 5, 6. And that's very much about what makes you feel rooted. It's your daily routine, and it's what you love. And you're able to add things to that, but you're also able to examine what works for you and what needs tweaking and what needs changing. So you really show up here in May with all your senses alive and awake, and you're examining your life and you're looking at it and you're saying, is this the way I want it to be? If yes, great, let's keep going. If not, then I'm willing to do the work and I'm willing to make changes. By the way, if you hear goose or duck noises outside and they bother you, I'm sorry, but I love them. I think they're so charming. I think they're adorable, and I love them interrupting my horoscopes because I think they are much better than church bells or any of the other noises that I've had. Week 2, Monday to Sunday, the 5th to the 11th of May. The moon is still in Leo on the 5th, so also great for presentations, getting your foot in the door, same thing. On the 6th, 7th, and 8th, the moon goes into Virgo, and it goes into your 7th house of relationships. And Virgo is a sign that's ruled by Mercury, the communication planet. And when Mercury is in Virgo, it's got its critical thinking hat on. It examines things, it analyzes, and it comes up with meaning. And it's in your 7th house of relationships, and it's next to your south node in Virgo at 24 degrees. If I'm looking at your natal chart, your birth chart, in a personal reading, the south node and the north node, they show me where you're coming from on a spiritual level, what you've mastered already, and what you're moving towards, what you're trying to accomplish, right? And the moon being in Virgo here next to that south node, these 3 days will show you what you've already mastered, what has been perfected in your life, and how you can really bank on that and how you can make more of it. So let's say you've built a company And the one thing that is really great about the company is company morale. Everyone's happy to work there. Everyone's delighted to show up for work. What else can you do with that good morale? Can you use it to teach other companies how to keep their employees happy? Or what else can you do with that? So you'll be able to find something that really works in your life. How can you let that spill over into another area of your life that may not work as well? And how can you improve the second area by looking at what works? So I think I'm overcomplicating it the way I'm saying it. But you'll realize on the 6th, 7th, and 8th that there are certain things in your life that work really, really well, particularly in your relationships. How can you use those things to get other relationships that may not work so well? And how can you apply those principles to improve the other relationships? Hope that makes sense. On the 6th and 7th of May, we have the Eta Aquarids meteor shower, which are going to be best viewed in the southern hemisphere. Now, I'm a Western astrologer, and my horoscopes are based on the seasons, and they're based on the northern hemisphere. And it doesn't matter whether you're watching this in the southern hemisphere or in the northern hemisphere, the energy is the same, right? But this meteor shower will be actually visible in the southern hemisphere, and it stems from the constellation of Aquarius. And Aquarius is the sign of the humanitarian and the teacher. So if you see these shooting stars, make a wish, but don't just make a wish for yourself. Make a wish for humanity. Make a wish for someone else in your life. Make a wish for, your cousin Tom to find the love of his life, or make a wish for your mom to feel good about the relationship she has with her children, or wish for your friend Tommy to win the lottery because he plays scratch cards every week and it's something he's always been after. Make a wish for someone else. I think it's going to have a very positive effect on you and on other people. Then on the 9th and 10th of May, the moon goes into Libra, and it goes into your 8th house of institutions and authorities. And Libra is about overcoming obstacles. Aries is naturally said to be the sign that's about overcoming obstacles, but that's about bulldozing its way through obstacles, right? Libra is about connecting, and it's a bridge with a bump in it, and it's about finding the commonalities, the things that you have that are similar rather than the differences. So that's the way to overcome obstacles, by seeing what you share, what you have in common. And with the moon going into your 8th, anything that has to do with negotiations or mediation or the law or visa applications or contract negotiations, plan those for the 9th and 10th of May. That's when they will go best, and people will be most willing to see that they share something with you and that they would like to get on board with you because you do have this thing in common. And then particularly on the 10th, we have Mercury, the communication planet. That ingresses out of Aries, and it was in your 2nd house of money, and it moves into Taurus in your 3rd house of communication. So on the 10th particularly, with the communication planet being in the sign of Taurus, this fixed earth sign, it's the best day to come to an agreement and to say, okay, we've discussed this now for a day or two. Let's stamp this. Let's sign it off. Let's get it in the post. Let's get this resolved. We're on the same page, literally. Let's go for it. On the 11th, the moon goes into Scorpio, and it remains in Scorpio, moving into week 3 on the 12th and 13th as well. And it moves into Scorpio in your ninth house of travel, education, and the higher realms. But there are a couple of other things in that ninth house which kind of complicate it. First of all, you have Black Moon Lilith in there. Black Moon Lilith in a natal chart, again, shows me the part of yourself, the shadow self, which is trying to hold you back or keep you small. Vesta is the home, and it's what represents real security and a sense of belonging and this is something I can rely on. And Juno is endless summer. This is what represents endless happiness, right? So with the moon in Scorpio, the moon in Scorpio is able to dive beyond the surface of things and to get to the root cause of the matter. And with it being in Scorpio for this 3-day period, the 11th, 12th, 13th, you'll recognize what it is you don't know yet and what you need to learn. It will show you places that you haven't visited that you may want to visit. And it will also show you where you're disconnected, especially on a spiritual level, and what you can do about that to connect on a spiritual level. So it may sound like it's a negative because it shows you what isn't working, but it makes you clear, it makes you very, very aware of these subtle things, like to know where I'm disconnected spiritually. That's not something that I'm going to be conscious of most days, right? So you'll immediately know what to do about those things. And for instance, it may prompt you to sit down and meditate, and through that meditation you get an answer to something that you were looking for to problem solve, and snap your fingers and the problem is solved. So for you, this moon in Scorpio in that ninth is very, very good in terms of you gaining intuitive knowledge that can be applied in a practical way. So in week 2, the moon started on the 5th in your 6th house of daily routine and physical health and the structures of your life and work. And it ends in your 9th house of travel and the higher realms and education. So that's the 6th house of work and the 3rd quadrant. So this second week is very much about the structures of my life and discovering that I can mediate and I can negotiate, and that if I don't know something, that I know where to go to get that information, whether it's the library or the Akashic records, and how I can apply all of this willingness to learn and to gather information to create a more solid routine, a more healthy way of living, and I can reach agreements with people much more easily. So if you're struggling, if you've got a lot of conflict in your life with a lot of different parties, family are angry at you, the bosses don't want to sign the new contract, the new business partners have some sort of an issue, the second week is the time to address all of that and to come to some sort of joint agreement in those different areas. Week 3, Monday to Sunday, the 12th to the 18th of May. Moon still in Scorpio on the 12th and 13th. So still the ability to gain answers. Specifically rather, on the 12th of May, when we have a full moon in Scorpio, that's when the moon reaches its completion point. It's fully illuminated and it showers us with Scorpio energy. So Scorpio energy will allow you to look beyond the surface of things and to identify what the root problem is. Think of it like a surgeon who has to make an incision and to excise the thing that has no business being there and to remove it and then to close the wound. So you have this super precise way of gaining the right information and removing things which are unhelpful. Then the moon goes into Sagittarius on the 14th and 15th. And that's great because it goes into your 10th house of work, and you'll make huge inroads and huge amounts of progress when it comes to your work, your career, what it is you're working on. If you're retired, if you're a student, you'll be able to absorb a ton of information if you're a student. If you're retired, you'll be able to do a lot of work on what you're currently interested in, what you're working towards. The 16th, 17th, and 18th sees the moon going into Capricorn, and that goes into your 11th house of hopes and dreams, and it's opposed by Hades in your 5th. And that's really interesting because, wow, you're like Superman this month, Pisces. You're so positive. If there's anything that doesn't work, you're willing to do the work in order to fix it. So on the 16th, 17th, and 18th, when it comes to your personal relationships with people in your life who matter to you, or when it comes to your relationship with your work, if something isn't quite right, if something isn't working, you're willing to do the work to fix whatever it is that is coming between you and your happiness in those areas, and to resolve those and to get back to a place of things function, things are happy, things are working nicely, and 2 thumbs up. So you're really a problem solver. You're someone who is hands-on, and you're someone who is willing to do the work this month. So really, no one can accuse you of being lazy or checked out here. You're super, super engaged. Week 3, the moon starts in your 9th house on the 12th, and on the 18th, it ends in your 11th. So that's the very top half of your chart. So week 3 is really the week to do the work and to work as much as you can. If you're thinking of taking time off, week 3 really isn't the time to do it. That's when you can be super productive. Now, finally, week 4, which really isn't a week, it's pretty much half the month. It's Monday to Saturday, the 19th until the 31st of May. On the 19th and 20th, we have the moon in Aquarius, and the moon goes into your 12th house of spirituality and spiritual strength, and it joins Pluto in Aquarius, and it joins Pallas in Aquarius, both of those sitting in that 12th house. So over this 2-day period, you may get some really useful information from the higher realms by doing things like meditation, listening to music, swimming, going for walks, doing anything that gets you in the zone. If there's anything that doesn't make sense, that despite all your work, you haven't been able to resolve, by considering these things on the 19th and 20th, you'll get the answers. On the 20th as well, the sun goes into Gemini, and it moves into your 4th house of family and your roots, and it's joined by the part of fortune and Jupiter, also in Gemini, in your 4th house. So from the 20th of May until the end of the month, expect rainbows and happiness and good times in your family circumstances. Expect there to be almost no conflict. People will appreciate you. People will appreciate how hard you work. They will see the best in you. And it's really a good time to spend with your loved ones. You'll have a great time just enjoying each other's company. On the 21st and 22nd, the moon goes into your sign of Pisces, and it goes into your 1st house of self. Again, it's joined by the North Node in Pisces and Saturn in Pisces. So this is going to be a part of the month where you realize that you're on the right track, that the answers you've come up with to problem solve as you go through the month have been right, that continue on the path that you're on, and things will turn out okay. This is kind of like the moon card in the tarot, where the path is there, but it's surrounded by scary objects. So there may be a little bit of anxiety floating around on the 21st and 22nd, but just realize you're on the right track, keep going, and things will work out in your favor. On the 23rd and 24th, the moon goes into Aries, and it goes into your second house of money. It's joined by Neptune, your ruler, which is now in Aries. Neptune has been in Pisces for the last 14 years. It went into Aries on the 30th of March, and it's dipping its toe into Aries this year. It will retrograde back into Pisces for the last time later this year, and then stay in Aries next year. But with Neptune in Aries, it's really a message that it's time to make your hopes and dreams a reality now. And your moon is in Aries, Venus is in Aries. Venus is love, beauty, creativity, and Chiron is in Aries. So these 2 days, the 23rd, the 24th, if there are any opportunities to heal your finances, so if there are opportunities to invest, or you get a proposal to go into business with someone, trust those. Jump on. It's very likely that those things will work out and that they will create extra income for you. On the 24th, Saturn, the planet of structure and security, that also exits Pisces and goes into Aries, and it moves into your second house of money. So Saturn, as well as Neptune, these are outer planets. They move very, very slowly. So Saturn goes into Aries and it stays in Aries until September. Any business ventures that you've got in mind, anything that you've got kind of cooking or bubbling along that's designed to create an extra source of income, to increase your income, to start a whole new business, to add an additional source of income, to rent out the house and to live off the rent, or anything to do with your finances to create more wealth and abundance, really make that a priority from now, the 24th of May, until September. The actions you take are going to have such a positive impact on your financial life, on your financial future. It will take a lot of the pressure off. On the 25th and 26th of May, the moon goes into Taurus, and it goes into your third house of communication, and it joins Uranus in Taurus. So this is similar to the moon being in Aries in your second house of money, because with the moon in Taurus, if you get offers to go into business on the 25th or 26th, again, those are likely to be worthwhile. Those are likely to be ventures that are going to work out well, so not scams. And the miraculous and unexpected can happen if you get involved with those. So I'm not saying you're going to win the lottery here, but what I'm saying is you can kind of win the lottery as far as any new business ventures you create, or new businesses you start on your own, or you go into business with another person who either comes to you or you go to them. It's really, really likely that you start something which is going to create a lot of income moving into the future. On the 27th and the 28th, the moon goes into Gemini, and it goes into your fourth house of family. So again, expect happy families, a lot of harmony, a lot of laughter, a lot of good times. But also we've got transiting Mercury, the transiting midheaven, and transiting Jupiter in Gemini there. If there are any business related problems that need to be resolved, the 27th and the 28th are great days to apply yourself to those issues and to resolve them in earnest. And especially on the 27th of May, we have a new moon in Gemini. A new moon is when the moon is pitch black, pulls a ton of energy in order to start its next 28-day cycle. Gemini is ruled by Mercury. Mercury's in Gemini. So this is a moon where you can problem solve anything to do with business or family life. So you're laughing here in May, Pisces. You're going to have a great month. The 29th and the 30th, we've got the moon going into Cancer. That goes back into your 5th house. That's a great time for intimacy, real closeness. If you're in a relationship, to take 2 days out with your partner, to maybe have a few days away, to be together, to be intimate, to love each other, to connect physically, to show each other how much you care in a physical way, to express that warmth and love and affection you have for another human being. It will go really well. And then finally, the month ends on the 31st with the moon going into Leo. It rejoins Mars in Leo in your 6th house. So again, if there are any presentations that need to be made, or if you need to get investment or funding, or you need to convince people or influence people to join your team, or to get on board, or to provide the funding to get something off the ground, 31st is ideal to do that. Plus, on the 31st of May, we have Venus, the planet of love and beauty and creativity, and also abundance and business. That's at its greatest western elongation. And look for Venus in the morning in the eastern sky before sunrise on the 31st, and you will see it twinkling back at you quite brightly. And it's in your 2nd house of money in Aries. Your Mars is in your 6th house of work, also in a fire sign in Leo, and the two trine each other. When you take the male and female, often you get something produced via that connection. And the end of the month here is fabulous for you to start a business. So if you're thinking of really starting a new business, your own business, give it, and if you want to give it a birthday, the 31st of May is the ideal birthday to give to your new business. That is going to contain wonderful, loving, abundant, prosperous, fortunate, positive energy for the duration, for as long as the business lasts. The 31st is the ideal day to start the new business and to give it life on that day. So the final week here, in May, the moon started on the 19th. It started in your 12th house and it ended in your 6th house. So it's the 12th house and it's the bottom half of your chart, quadrants 1 and 2. So it's really spiritual information that's going to lead to you being able to create real structures, real security, real harmony, real family unity and solidity and comfort and unity and belonging in this last 13 days of the month. So Pisces, you're the family person, you're the business person, you're the person who can experience real happiness in May. And I applaud you. I hope you have a wonderful month. I hope this gives you an idea of what you'll be working with. If you would like a personal reading with me, please get in touch via my website. It's gregoryscott.com. On the front page, scroll down a little bit until you get to the button that says book your reading. Click on that to order your reading with me, or just click on the shop tab, takes you to the same place. To draw up your birth chart, I need your place of birth, date of birth, and time of birth. If you don't have the time of birth, not all hospitals record the time of birth. I can use sunrise, but the problem with that is that it means that the ascendant and the house placements are off. And because of that, there's a process called chart rectification, which is where you send me 10 or more significant things that have happened to you in your life. And based on those, I can then rectify your chart and work out your time of birth manually so that it's accurate. And then once I do have your charts in front of me, I can see your life purpose, your vocational aptitudes, the areas of your life where you're naturally blessed and you don't have to do very much, areas where you have to maybe work a little harder, what's destined for you in certain things, life purpose, relationships, finances, health, travel, education, spiritual development. To look at what's coming up in future, I look at your transits and your progress chart. To look at specific places in the world that will work for you, so that'll be good for you to live. I look at the astrocartography for that. So with the natal chart, it's me on Earth looking up and seeing how the planets were placed and how that, as above, so below, how that impacted you, right? And created the person you are. With the astrocartography, it's the same way. It's based on your natal chart, but I change the perspective and I position myself in the sky. I look down on planet Earth. I see how the planets were moving over different parts of the Earth and how each area then influences you. So if Copenhagen is ruled by Mars, it may be that living there is always filled with conflict and back and forth. Or Paris is ruled by Pluto, that you never feel like you get a foothold and that you never feel settled. Whereas if the UK is ruled by Saturn, you may feel a little obstructed and a little oppressed. But if, I don't know, Cape Town is ruled by Venus and Jupiter, that would be a place for you of great fortune and love and good luck and happiness and good times. So if you want me to have a look at any of those things, please do get in touch for a personal reading. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, please. That's what helps it show up in searches. Subscribe for more videos in future, and please share the video with someone you know so that the channel grows. I hope you have a fabulous May, and I will speak to you for the videos on the new moons and the full moons. I also do a daily tarot reading on the channel. If you'd like to watch those, please join the channel. And I hope you have a wonderful month, and I will speak to you soon. All the best.